everyone. Welcome back to this amazing day where people are enjoying Bodagavska trophy as well as doing fun over the weekend. So hope you're doing perfectly well. This is Bhupesh again. Came back with a very extraordinary session on open telemetry. Basically, I've received a lot of important requests how to enable the end-to-end monitoring of a Kubernetes-based application, which we have not done so far, I guess. But in this session, you'll find how to install a Kubernetes-based microservices application, a Python-based application, and then we will install a node exporter, which will capture the infrastructure matrices from that cluster, and then finally we will install open telemetry collector agent with the help of Helm chart, which is a automated way of doing it, and which is a being suggested by the open source community, and will capture the node exporter matrices. And not only this, will capture the application matrices, which is one of the asks. Aro- Additionally, we will capture the application logs as well as the traces. I mean, 360-degree view. And the moment I click on any trace or span, it should get me to the logs of that particular transaction. So this is pretty much about the entire session, and I will assure you, you will not find this kind of detailed explanation of end-to-end monitoring using OpenTelemetry, and which will send data to your open source Grafana or open source Prometheus, Loki or Tempo, or maybe to a cloud based these endpoints. If you find anything something related to this, please put me into the comment section. But I can 100% guarantee you, challenge you, that this would be the one of the most you know popular session in the open telemetry playlist. So let's get started. Let's without wasting time, I've done a lot of boasting. Let's first of all show you the GitHub page and all that. And yet, before we start, please do not forget to like and subscribe the channel. Like this video. I'm sure you will do it after this watching it. But please stay tuned, and you need to watch this video because this is gonna be very, very difficult or not difficult or challenging session on open telemetry. Okay, so let's get started. So we have a GitHub page for this where we have created a special page on how to capture, how to monitor your you know entire application and capture the metrics, logs, and reasons, everything. Okay, so we'll do that, and we'll open the VS Code from here, and then we'll get started, right? So I have a mini cube cluster, and let me just clear the screen for you. And I'm onto this namespace. Okay, there's nothing in this. Helm list is empty. K get all is also empty. So you have a brand new namespace with an MC, everything empty in that. So first of all, we will install a Python based application which I get from internet, and in one of the GitHub repository, and then we'll install a very Python based application which is actually already auto instrumented using OpenTelemetry jar file of Python. Okay, so let me go back to that. So I will go cd app. So first of all, I'm not touching anything onto the Kubernetes part, I mean the OTEL collector part of this. I'm just uh, installing my microservices based application. Okay, fine. So I have four manifests. First of all, there's a config map. This config map will tell me that please send metrics logs of data for this application onto this open telemetry collector agent, which is running on OTLP port 4317. This is my service of the OTEL collector, which I'll explain in a while. Okay, and this is the deployment which is pulling up this image. One of my friend who has created this image. I'm using this image and for showing the demo, which is auto instrumented using Python, and this is the namespace which is getting created if it's not there, and then the service on basis of that which will run on the port number 8000. So everything is placed inside this folder. So I'll simply say kubectl apply k, not t, apply -f, and then simply I'll run it. So it will apply all the application related stuff in this, and I should get my application running. So k get all, k get svc, a port forward. This is my application, and it should open this application, and it should be up and running. Okay, my application is running up properly fine. This is my what do you say, Swagger based application. Okay, some of you might have seen these kind of applications earlier. Now applications up and running, there's no problem in this application. Let's do the remaining part, which is the interesting part, which you will like it. So I'll spin up another window for the same, and then I'll install the node exporter just to collect the infrastructure details. I'm talking about this. So I'll install the node exporter, which will capture the infrastructure details from this cluster. Okay, I'll just install node exporter. It's a brand straightforward Helm chart that you need to run it, which will install your node exporter pod and services. You will see services are up and running. I'll just do a port forward of node exporter service just to see whether I'm getting the matrices or not, right? And it will run on 9100 port if you do not know. Okay, so I need to stop something so that I'm stopping the node exporter of my Ubuntu box, which was running. Now my node exporter is running. I'll just quickly check the matrices from this node exporter. Yes, I'm getting the matrices. Okay, so infrastructure matrices from that cluster is now coming nicely. We need to scrape it. Okay, using OTEL collector, we'll do it. Let's get back to the third and the important step, which is very important to understand. I'll go very slow in this. If you have any doubts and queries, you can pause the video. You can ask relevant questions in this. So before I run this Helm upgrade command of OpenTelemetry, it's a Helm chart provided by the community in the official documentation page. But with this Helm chart, I'm running this values.yml file. Now, what is this values.yml file? That is doing the complete magic for this session. Okay, I'll open this file. Now I am installing this OpenTelemetry collector in the mode of deployment, not a daemon set. I can install as a daemon set for collecting logs also. But yeah, in this for the sake of demo, I'm taking a deployment. I'm taking this image OTEL collector kit as, and these are the log collection enabled true. Now these are the configuration that I am passing. The OTEL collector configurations are divided into three parts: receivers, which will receive the data; processors, which will process the data; and then the exporter, which will export the data to the relevant exporter. So in the case, in today's scenario, we are exporting everything to Grafana cloud. So first of all, I'm saying, let's please read the node exporter matrices from this cluster. Let me first of all grab the cluster IP. If it is, I'll do a get svc. The cluster IP of node exporter is this, which should be the one copied here so that it can grab the data. Now I'm saying, please scrape the node exporter matrices from this cluster on this port number and name it to a total node exporter job. Fine. This is the first receiver. Now the other receiver which I am doing it, so only this thing will come from cluster. Rest everything will come from the application, which is the Python based application, which will send the metrics, logs, and traces onto this particular service. This service, okay, not this one. Onto this service, the OTEL collector OTLP port. Now, before going over there, I'll show you what are the extensions. Then this is the first basic auth. Now, before going on this extension, these are the exporters. Exporters are nothing but the third part of your OTEL collector agent. Where I'll say that please send all the matrices on this endpoint. You see, this is the Grafana cloud endpoint. If you have not seen my previous video, you can see it and check it how I'm sending data to Grafana cloud. So this is the URL, and only one change you need to make sure that instead of vi prom push, you need to put a OTLP and then give the authentication. If it is non-authentication based, you can simply give the endpoint and remove this auth section. But I've specifically kept it so that it is crystal clear for people who have a username and password also on their Prometheus. So this is the I'm sending. Please send all my matrices, whether coming from node exporter or coming from application, send it to this endpoint with this authentication. This is my Grafana cloud API key and API key password. For logs, I'm saying please send it to this Loki URL at the end. Again, make sure that you are having this OTLB at the end. Then basic auth is again the same basic auth for Loki. And for tempo, this is the endpoint tempo exporter for traces, and this is the way of passing the credentials in tempo. So authorization basic. Then you may ask that how this credentials you have got it. So you can get these credentials from something like this. Okay. Now if you run it, this is the Grafana tempo user ID, and then this is the Grafana tempo password. You need to enable and encode it to base64, and then you'll get the API key, which is nothing but this one. Once you have all these three informations, then you need to create pipelines. Now again, we need to create three pipelines. First is for matrices. So now I'll reiterate whatever things which are not there, that will come from a default values from a Helm chart. So first of all would be receivers. Receivers are two, Prometheus and OTLP. Processors are batch, and exporter is OTLP2. So it will receive the data from what? It will receive the data from Prometheus. Okay, this guy, and receive it from your OTLP. Okay, which is nothing but the application endpoint, and send it to this endpoint, which is Grafana Cloud. Logs again. Logs will get it from OTLP file log, and then it will process it, and then it will send to OTLP HTTP, which is nothing but this endpoint. And similarly for a tempo, right? Now this is the important thing to understand before I run this Helm chart. Now I'm going to run this Helm chart. I hope you got the crux of this. Is the MD file? Okay, this is the one, right? So now I'll run this command, which will install my everything, my OpenTelemetry Collector Helm chart with this values.yaml file. This will install your okay, I need to get out of this. Then I have to run this command again because I was running it from wrong location. Now you see OTEL collector might have got installed. HL. Okay. Helm chart is there. KGP. Okay. My OTEL collector pod is running. Kget service. Yes, I can see the service is also running, which is nothing but my OpenTelemetry collector, which I have passed. If you remember, which I have passed in the configuration map of this service for the application. So application will read this 437 endpoint and will send all the metrics, logs, and traces from that application, instrumented application, to this endpoint, which ultimately will route everything to these endpoints. Okay, we explain. So it will read it from here, will process it, and it will send it to this. Okay. Now let's see one more thing before we uh, see the data on Grafana Cloud. Let's see the manifest of this Helm chart. So what it has actually installed. Let's make it very simple. So this Helm chart is installing first of all service account, okay, which is nothing but it will try to access the data from all the namespace, and then it will install your config map. What's the config map it is installing? Now you read it, whatever we have passed. First of all, it is exporters is this is the tempo exporter, and then you have a logs export, and then you have a matrix exporter. These are the extensions of your password. Perfect. And then your health check extension. Then this processors, batch receiver is your receiver from where it will receive the data. The file log receiver is there to get the data from Kubernetes pod. So we are capturing all the pod logs here. See, so this is the important one of the receivers that will get the data. Okay, and Jaeger. You're not using Jaeger, yeah, but you're using this OTLP as another receiver to get the data on this endpoint, gRPC endpoint, right? 4317, which you have given to the application. Prometheus is your total node exporter. And then finally, we have the pipeline. So you see, same pipelines. First of all, let's understand the matrix pipeline. Matrix pipeline, we are saying, first of all, receiver will play a role. It will receive the data from OTLP, which is from application, and from Prometheus, which is node exporter. And then we'll do a processors, which is memory limited and batch, and then it will go to the Prometheus endpoint. Grafana Cloud Prometheus endpoint. Now for logs, you see, first of all, it will receive the data from OTLP and file log, and then it will process it, and when it will go to the OTLP exporter, it will be HTTP, which is the logs, Grafana logs cloud endpoint. And then similarly for traces, it will receive from OTLP, Jaeger or Zipkin, but in this case we are sending traces to this from the application to process it and to send the data to OTLP. And finally you have a service. It is exposing all these points, all these port, and then finally you have a deployment which is using that config map and then running it. So that is pretty much. Let me do some hits on this application URL which we just opened. This is my application URL. I'll just do certain hits. I'll try it out. I'll just do execute. It will generate certain hits to this. I'll check URL. Okay. And then I'll come back and then I'll do a again hit here. Okay. I'm getting the data and then I'll do it and then execute it. I'm getting the errors also. So I'm just trying to hit whatever I can so that you can get the data pertaining to this. Fine. Now let me check the logs of the pods if there anything is happening or not. Okay, logs of pod of first of all collector pod. Okay, is anything error is coming in this or not? Okay, there's no error actually. uh, some resource exhausted, but anyway, so there's no warning and errors. So kgp now k logs of pod of this is the application pod. Yeah, it is generating all the data which it needs to generate whenever I'm clicking those hicks, or you can see it like this also. Okay, you see if I'm refreshing anything, it will get generate the data in there. Okay, fine, then I think data is getting flowing, there's no proper error. Let me go back to the then your or Grafana cloud instance. First of all, I'll go to the explore. First of all, I'll check the matrices. What are the matrices that are coming from the application and from the cluster? I'll run this magic query which will tell me how many distinct jobs are coming, distinct metric series rolled up on a job from that cluster. Okay, I'll just do for last 5 minutes. I'm getting the data from two endpoints. Okay, I'll just do both. Okay, now you can see I'm getting the data from these two. This OTEL node exporter is your node exporter matrices, and this is your application related stuff. Okay, so I can see what are the distinct matrices that are coming from application also. So this is the all the JVM related matrices might be coming. See, fine then. Now we have a matrices coming from application and matrices coming from the OTEL node exporter. So let me import the node exporter dashboard if I have not done it. Hopefully I should have done that. A node exporter dashboard. Let me see. I should have it here. Node exporter full. Let me see any data is coming. Why not coming? Okay, I need to then get the relevant matrices. For now, anyway, we'll check the node exporter a dashboard in a while. First of all, let's see the data onto your directly on explore mode. So you're getting the data from node exporter. This was all about metrics part. So let me go back to then logs, or before we going to the logs, let's go to the tempo. Whether we are getting any traces from that application in last. This is my application name, which we saw it. I am getting the traces. So if I collect one particular pan ID from that traces, it will open the tempo section. If I click on logs, I'm getting the logs also. Or let me just quickly go back and then select any other trace. Then I can check the logs are not coming. Possibly I need to generate some more traffic. Logs should also come. That let me check the logs directly. Okay, logs are there. Okay, service name. I'm getting the logs from all these services. For past 15 minutes, I'm getting the logs. Yes, I'm having the logs. I have the span IDs also, which is fine. And I can check the span IDs directly from a tempo as well. I just simply do a quick of 5 minutes last, and then okay, I'll just do again refresh quickly, and then it should get the data. Yeah, and then I click on this, and I should get the older logs are not coming, but I'm getting the span ID. That is for sure. Each span ID is generating. So let me just do some more hits at least. Maybe the hit of Fana Cloud is done. Me refresh again. Let me check the cat. Okay. Anyway, so logs are not floating. I mean, traces are coming nicely. Let me go back and then go to the tempo part is there. Logs part, I've checked at least logs are coming. Let me check any namespace related logs whether those are there or not. OpenTelemetry demo. Let me see for last 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm getting all the logs. So at least now logs in this data is coming nicely. I can get the file stream path. All the logs are coming. So potentially, so what I can at least assure or confirm to you that I am getting the data to my logs endpoint, metrics endpoint, and then the tempo endpoints also. Now going back to the to this, let me just quickly let me delete the pod of this application once again so that it should do it the fresh thing. And in the meantime, let me see the OTEL matrices. So I'm just checking all the validating. See, individually we have checked the data is coming nicely for matrix logs and traces. Now I'm just doing more understanding or troubleshooting of getting the fresh logs from the application, right? And this is all exploratory session. I'll just simply run this command again. Okay, I'm getting the yes. So the node exporter, I'll do this node exporter, and then I'll do okay. I'm getting node exporter. Yeah, node related stuffs are coming. Let me just go and try to import a dashboard related to node exporter. Import 1860, I guess. That is a node exporter full. In the UID also. See, now the data is coming. Sorry, I mean, I was using some other older version of the dashboard. If I do the last 12-24 hours, yes, I'll get the data. So never mind, my node exporter data is coming nicely and I'm able to see it in onto the dashboards also. So at least the metrics part is working nicely. I'll just simply export this service again. Yeah, port forward. Now I'll open this application again just to give more hits on this. I'll do health check. The health check is done, and then simply I'll do refresh, and then I'll do get item. Perfect. Now I'll go back here. I'll simply click on now traces. I'll do last 5 minutes. Okay. See, now the data is coming. So I think I did not restarted my application because I installed application first, and then I installed OTEL collector agent. So application was not able to refer that endpoint, and then deleted the pod, and then I was able to get everything. So this is what I want to show you. This is a very very important topic which nobody will explain you, that a marriage between logs and traces is very very important, so that you can get to the details of that issue, what has happened from using that particular log, right? And then you can simply check the detail level of that log. Okay, get the items called was there in this span. So if I see some other span, let's see some other span also. mm, yeah, scan for all logs. We'll see this is the health check called was done. So if I do something else, let's do something fancy now. I'm just exploring in front of you only. So if I do error, if I search it, I get something. No, there's nothing on error. So if I do like this, anything, there's nothing on error. So let me give hit some errors now. Mm, okay, so I got some error. Let me see if I'm getting any error now. No error here. Okay, if I select any error, I want to see any error is coming or not. Okay, no error is coming. Anyway, so let me select something else then. Okay, we select this guy. Any log, scan for all the logs. I can get the details. Okay. Fine. So this is what I want to explain, the tracing of logs from the tempo directly. That is the beauty of this instrumentation using OpenTelemetry. Now you have seen the individual logs also, and individual tempo also, the traces also. Let me go back and then see the namespace related logs. Okay. So suppose in this namespace I want to see any particular pod. I want to see any details of my suppose node export. I can run that thing. I can get there's no log. Maybe there's no log, but I can do simply like this and then run it. I'll get all the logs, and then I can click on pod name. I can get all the pods that are coming from the this pod. So this is how you can do filtration on pod, filtration on tempo traces, filtration of matrices that we have seen it in last, I think, close to 10 or 15 minutes. That is pretty much about this session. Let me go back and summarize what we have done, which is important. First of all, we installed that application that was having a config map of which was taking data from hotel collector service, and then we installed this open telemetry collector helm chart. Now before we installed helm chart, we passed certain configurations like the node exporter was installed, and then pass those configuration to get the matrices, and then the configurations of metrics, logs, and traces. So I would say try this out. This is a really different kind of session. It also took me around a couple of days to set up this configuration and make it work on Grafana cloud. But you can work anywhere, not only in Grafana cloud. It will work on your standalone Grafana, Loki, and Tempo as well. So yeah, I mean, give it a try. Try to mimic. In case of any issues and queries, please drop a note into the comment section. We'll try to help you, and maybe over the weekend. That is pretty much, and that is pretty much. I want to wrap up this video quickly. And yeah, before you go, do not forget to subscribe the channel, hit the bell icon so that you can get all the updates pertaining to OpenTelemetry, Grafana, and so on. Yeah, till then, I'll say take care. Goodbye.